Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's easy to say that the way to succeed, the way to get that next job, is to be the one who volunteers for everything, who takes on more than what you're doing right now, to be the one who always says yes. But the thing is that might not be the best course of attack. So with that, let's get into round 42 of the tactical transition tips. This time the topic is be okay with saying no. For the close range group, those of you who are right in the middle of your transition, maybe your transition's less than a year out, create your no-go criteria. And for the medium range group, those of you who are looking at your transition in, say, 5 years, set career boundaries. And for the long range group, those of you just starting your careers, you've got over a decade before your transition, say no to the safe career options.
You transition out is try to model all of the good things, the discipline, the structure, that little bit of rigidity into your everyday life. And I think that that's a great way to make that transition happen, man.
Take the time to invest in yourself because it means everything. You know? That's what the difference is. The difference is not just to collect a check. It's to live 25 years, 30, 40 years after you retire and pay it forward that way.
Close range group. You've got to have a no-go criteria, your no manifesto. Especially if you're right on the verge of that transition. Yeah, maybe if a year seems like a long way out, but I'm talking about the people who are right in the middle of it. You know that it's pending. It might even be a couple months away, and you still really don't know what you want to do. You don't need to say yes to everything. There's going to be everybody in your ear with, oh, you should do this, or what about this job? And they're going to be throwing stuff at you to the point that it's almost overwhelming. And if you start trying to say yes to every opportunity, every job interview, every potential networking meeting, and I know this goes against a lot what I routinely say, but if you try to take on too much, it's a recipe for disaster. You need to sit down right now and decide what you will and what you won't do. Create your no-go criteria. This isn't about you being negative. I don't want to do X. I don't want to do this. I'm not. There is a bit to that, but it's more, I want you to be thinking about creating a clarity for what is your future. And so you have a better idea of what you will and won't do as it relates to creating a more clear picture for yourself. Sit down, ask yourself a couple questions. What are your core values? What kind of environment do you thrive in? And what kind of work drained you the most during your career? Take those three things, really delve into what's important to you, what drives you, what feeds you, and then create your no-go criteria from those answers. But those answers are based on you, not what other people are telling you, not what somebody else thinks might be a good job or a good career for you. With that, you have to define your why. What's your purpose? What's your mission? You might be, and I hope that you're in a position to be a little picky. If you're in a position where you just got to take a job because you need to, you can still create your why. You can still try to operate within parameters that feed what's inside of you. Make your no-go criteria something that is frameable for you, and so that you can take what are your core values, what you really want to do, what environment really suits your capabilities and your interests, and then be very intentional about finding that next job that fits maybe not all of them, but at least it fits the majority of what is important to you. If you're lucky and you find that one that hits them all, great. You may not get right there, at least for your first step. Maybe the next job after that when you have a little bit of time to settle. But still, define those areas that are important to you and make your job search based on those. Don't be afraid that you're limiting yourself and that there isn't going to be an abundance of jobs. Yes, there might be a small scarcity by narrowing your scope, but it's not like I would imagine that you're not going to eliminate every job. If it eliminates every potential job out there, I would say you need to go back to the drawing board and relook at what you're driving your mission set with and make sure that it's not so restrictive that you're just never going to find a job. You need to be realistic in what you're looking for. Once you have that defined, now go look for that company that best aligns with those values. Yes, I understand you need to find a job, you need to take care of your family, but your search needs to be more than just, I need a job. Have a purpose to what you're going to take all of these years of experience and training that you're bringing to the table to make that next organization better. Not just simply, hey, are you willing to give me a job? When you're talking to your employers, what you're able to show is, these are the values that are important to me. This is what I know I thrive in. This is how I can take everything that I've experienced, that I've learned, that I've been trained on, and bring it to your company because I've sat down and I've put myself in what is the right position for me, the position that's open with your company. It's not just simply, oh, you've got an opening, I want a job. It's that I'm the best candidate for that job because not only do my skills and abilities align with it, it aligns with my core values. Your company aligns with my core values. All of these things make you a better candidate. Remember though, you're not settling. You shouldn't settle for your next job. Get as close to these values as you possibly can. If you simply just say yes to the first thing that comes along, or you say yes to too many things, it's actually going to prevent you from finding the right thing.
This episode is brought to you by Soflete, a tactical fitness company founded by special operations soldiers. Soflete is dedicated to helping you achieve a healthy lifestyle. From expertly crafted training programs to high-quality proteins, pre-workouts, and sleep and recovery supplements, they've got everything you need to power through your day. Soflete also has a full line of clothing. They have you covered from shorts to cold weather gear. Embracing the motto, Die Living, Soflete inspires us all to embrace life with vigor and resilience. So take the first step towards a healthier you. Visit soflete.com. That's SOFLETE.com. And use the promo code TDP2024 to get 20% off your order. Again, that's TDP2024 for 20% off your order.
Medium range group. You need to set career boundaries. This may sound weird as you're closing in on your career. It may sound something like, I should have been doing this 10 years ago, and to a degree you should have. But where I'm going with this is you need to switch your focus. Your focus now over these next 5 years, 6 years, this very short period before your transition, you need to be focusing on you. When I say set boundaries in the sense of what you are and aren't going to do within your job going forward, because one of the things and what should be one of your primary motivators is to avoid burnout. Get to your transition point as weird as this may sound, as fresh and as alive, reinvigorated, whatever word you want to think of, but cross that transition line. It's not a finish line. It's just a transition line, but be as ready to go as you can for the next job or the next company that you're going to step into. You're going to probably, if you're looking at it like I'm not going to do anything, there is a chance that you're going to misinterpret this and feel almost like you're disappointing others, that you're conserving your mental and your emotional health to the detriment of your peers and your organization. That's not true. Where you need to think about this is say no to taking on more over these next 5 years to better prepare and to better focus on you. Not don't do the minimum. Don't necessarily just do the minimum, but you don't have to go above and beyond over these next 5 years if there's not a benefit to you and where you want to get to. When you start pulling back, start small. Start with something like stop being the one to necessarily volunteer for every project. Let other people step up and volunteer. You don't need to go to every meeting. If you don't need to be at a meeting, don't go there. But these little things will start setting the tone for how you're going to move forward. It's going to be apparent to some people that you're not doing as much. But again, don't let the fear that you're letting them down prevent you from doing what's best for you. You need to communicate with not only your peers, the people that work shoulder to shoulder with you each day, because they're going to be the first to see it, if not equally in time with your boss. You need to communicate with them what your end goal is. You need to ensure that for the mission that needs to be completed over the next 5 years, you're still going to pull your weight. You're not quitting, especially for those who have been around a bunch of old timers. You're not retired on the job. Okay. You're still going to be a functional and viable member of the team. You're just not necessarily going to take on all of the extra stuff. How this has a benefit, though, if you need something else besides simply just not feeling guilty, by you taking a step back, by you not jumping in and being the first to volunteer for every project or be the one that your boss always goes to, you're preparing the people that you work with to take your place. You're allowing them, and you should be encouraging them to step up and take the lead on new projects, new operations, new missions, whatever it is. Also, you need to be thinking about how are you preparing the organization to be better without you. So you take that step back, and what it does is it creates that void, that space for others to step in and take over and do as much, if not hopefully more than what you're doing today. I get it that for many of us, part of what drives us is being that rock, that sense of reliability, that person that our boss knows that we can be that go-to person. But you need to be thinking about you. You need to be thinking long game. You need to be thinking beyond your transition and getting you in the best space for that transition. Don't go into it with this almost you were racing at 100 miles an hour to get to your transition, and you were bringing so much baggage with you that when you step across that line and move to your next career, that's almost when you take your breath. But the problem is you're going to be the new guy there, and you may not have the time to take that breath. So start pulling back now, start doing a little bit less. Again, not pull your weight. Just don't take on the extras so that when you get to your transition, you've already unloaded a lot of that baggage, and then it's just a smooth walk across that line. You're not beat down. You're not stressed out because you were carrying projects and jobs right until the 23rd hour before your transition. When you go to your next job, when you go into that interview process, one of the key things that you'll be able to sell for yourself is your ability to manage your workload. You can show how, and again, it's how you want to sell it. I realized that I was coming to the end of my career. I needed to take a step back so that I would be best prepared for my transition. But I also needed to make sure that I was preparing those people who were going to take my place for them to step in and take over for me. Something to think about.
This episode is brought to you by Triton Coffee, a veteran-owned brand and lifestyle. And while they're masters of cold brew, Triton's beans are roasted to create a flavor that shines whether you drink it hot or cold. There's no bitterness, there's no burnt taste, it's just good tasting coffee. Their coffees taste amazing hot, which is how I prefer it, while still designed to excel as a cold brew. But Triton Coffee is more than just great taste. Triton supports your wellness journey, featuring ingredients like organic mushrooms, adaptogens, and nootropics. It's made for those who enjoy good coffee and value quality and health. So if you're looking for a coffee that meets you wherever your day takes you, hot or cold, you need to check out Triton Coffee. I know I said I prefer hot coffee, but here's a tip from me. Mix their instant cold brew with your favorite protein for a protein coffee drink that's great cold. You can thank me later. I know there's a lot of coffee options out there, but give Triton a try. I know you'll enjoy it as much as I do. Head over to tridentcoffee.com and use the promo code TDP15 for 15% off your order. That's TDP15 for 15% off your order.
Long range group. You need to say no to the safe assignments. You've got a long time ahead of you. You've got the opportunities to try a lot of different things. See what you like, see what you don't like. You've got the opportunity to roll the dice and gamble. Take those challenges now, before you've kind of created a path that you can't get off of. Look for those those opportunities that are going to challenge you. You may fail early, but the more times that you challenge yourself, the less you're going to be failing, the more you're going to gain experience, knowledge, leadership, all of those things by constantly stepping off one set path and challenge yourself. Choose the things that are hard. Choose those things that don't allow you the ability to settle in and get quote unquote comfortable. Because as we all know, when things get comfortable, it gets a little bit easier to back off the gas, to not put in as much effort. I was just watching a sports show recently and the guy who retired had done, I want to say 11 years in the NFL. And he goes, I knew I was done because I no longer had the desire to put the effort into training. I no longer had the desire to put the effort in during practice. He goes, and when I realized that it had gotten to the point where he wasn't saying it was easy, but it had become routine, he realized it was time for him to step away. The other thing you fight right now, or you run the risk right now, is you get into that assignment, whatever it is, you find that you like it, and then you settle in, and then unfortunately, you might lock yourself into that path, that journey, whatever it is, because you get so far embedded in it, ingrained in it, that either one or two things happen. One, it gets too hard for you to step away or move to something else because you've gotten comfortable, it's become routine. Or the flip side, your organization is putting so much pressure on you, or there's so much demands on you because you're that guy. You're the person who knows that job better than most everybody else. And so where you might want to move, sometimes it's for the betterment of the organization, we're going to keep you here. So if you can move before you get to those points, it's more advantageous to you. I'm not saying to jump like a hopscotch all over the place and never really settle in. What I'm saying is you need to evaluate where you're at in each phase of your career. And when you feel like you started letting your foot off the gas, maybe you're not putting in 100% anymore, maybe it's getting a little too routine, that's when you need to be thinking, all right, where's my next assignment going to be? Where am I going to move next? What else can I do? You want to make sure that you don't hit that mundane zone, because that's what's going to kill your career. Stay flexible, make it to where you always have options. And if those options are instead of promoting up, maybe you move left, you move right, you go do something completely different. I would say each year, sit down and look at where your career's at. What's gone on over the last year? What assignment are you in? And then ask yourself, am I happy where I'm at? Are you secure where you're at? But in the sense of, are you secure because it's gotten easy? Or are you secure where you're starting to feel like you're just expected to be that guy? Then you need to think about that. You also need to think about, it may be perceived as, if you're at team A, if you were to move to team B, those around you, or maybe even to yourself, might think, oh, I'm taking a step back in my career. But the thing is that that's only a perception. Make sure that you have a purpose in mind. If you're going to make that move, it's only the perception that you're maybe taking a step back, because others around you might be saying, man, you're already on this path. Here's where you're going to get to. But the thing is that they're putting their bias or their judgment on you where they want to get to in their career. If there's the next step with the path that you're on, and you actively and wholeheartedly want to get there, then stay on that path. But don't be afraid to take that perceived step backwards for the long-term benefit of your career. Don't also let the fear of the unknown. We get into positions where we get comfortable, we know our job, man, we can almost do it with our eyes closed. And then you think about doing something different, and it's I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't want to be back to being the new guy where I don't understand everything. Don't let that fear of the unknown tie you up now. That fear should actually be almost like a fire in your gut to constantly want to be challenging yourself. The other thing that's going to happen, though, is if you're constantly open to new opportunities, new challenges, new positions, you're actually going to maximize your career. You're going to get to the end of your career having done a lot of things. It's going to have a huge benefit to a resume in all the different things you've done. It's going to set you apart from your peers, because you're going to find that for the most part, most everybody else takes the safe route. They get into that rut and they just ride that rut. And then what happens is, when they're so far into it, there's no way they can get off of it. Those are the ones you see that are complaining all the time. They're unhappy with their job. They're unhappy with everything else, because if maybe several miles back, if they had gotten off that rut or that road, they would have been better for their career. But then they want to bring you down. So be mindful of that. The one thing you do have to think about, though, is you've got to think about your family in conjunction with your career. I'm not saying that just because of your family that you have to get onto that safe path and just stay there. That is something that you are going to have to balance. Will a assignment change? Will a duty station change? Will a team change? Whatever it is, have an impact on your family. Is it going to force you to relocate? Is it going to force you to go from a 10-minute drive to an hour drive each way? All of those little things are going to have to play in. But the same way, don't allow your peers or your coworkers to hold you back based on their bias. Talk to your family. Make them understand that what you're trying to do is going to make you better for them in the long run. So, hey, for this window of the next year, next 2 years, whatever it is, yeah, it's going to be a little stressful. How can we manage it? And work with your family through this process. When you get to the end of your career, whatever it is, and you're filling out that resume and you're putting down all the different assignments and positions that you worked in, the positions that you held, that is going to make you more marketable, because now all of a sudden you've got transferable skills that widen your scope for potential job searches. Who's going to be looking to recruit you? The other thing is, though, it's all how you apply yourself while you're making those jumps and those changes in your career. Remember, It's one thing to not get into the rut, and it's to force yourself to get out of the rut. But it's not just going to the next one and then just shuffling along and being the last guy in the pack. All right, this year's done. I'm going to shuffle over here. No, you want to jump to whatever the next assignment is, but then challenge yourself, push yourself to do the best you can. Get to the front of that pack, or at least try to work your way to the front of that pack. Because when you're marketing yourself on the tail end of or into your transition, it's, yes, I did try other things. Yes, I was constantly looking forward to try to improve not only myself and make me better as an employee, but I was also looking for challenges where I could bring my skills and my experiences to make my organization better. And this same forward thinking is what I'm bringing to your company. I'm not looking for settling. The job you offer me today, yes, I will do everything I can to be the best employee within this organization. But please also understand that I'm also looking for more challenges myself, whether it be to move up within your organization or to take on new challenges to my left or to my right. And I'm using them paraphrasing or as an analogy. But show your next employer that you're not somebody who's just going to stagnate themselves and just kind of go, okay, check back in with me in another 10 years and I'll probably be right in the same spot. Always be looking to improve your position, whether it's moving up or it's gaining more knowledge and experience. Your marketability comes from a broad level of success within the company, the organization now, to help you stand out when you move to the next one. So in closing, close range group, you got to create your no-go criteria, your no manifesto. You've gotten to the ability or you've come to the end of your career. You've got the opportunity now to get the job that truly works for you. Don't settle on your next job. Medium range group, set career boundaries. Go into your transition as best as you can be, unburdened with a lot of stress because you were trying to carry so many bags from this career right up to the finish line. And the long range group, say no to the safe career options. Playing it safe is just playing it small. Thank you always. Thank you again. Thank you for listening, watching the podcast. I truly do appreciate it. I hope that I'm giving you and you're getting what you need. I'm always asking for your help. Please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Share the podcast with somebody that you think would benefit from it. Leave me a comment, leave me a like. All those little things put the podcast in front of more eyes, which has the ability to grow in front of more eyes. So it's that domino effect. You need to be the first domino for me, please. And until the next one, our transitions are important. These careers are important to us, but also understand that sometimes what's best for our careers is to be able to say no.